It's Friday, and I'm back with the next in our Fanzine Friday series. Today we're taking a look at Red Giant number 4. Please stick around. I'm AZ Mountaineer. This is our channel, Old School Rules, the place for everyone who loves classic RPGs and anyone who'd like to learn more about them. Each week on the Fanzine Friday series, I take a fanzine from my collection off the shelf for a closer look, and today it's Red Giant number 4. Hope you enjoy the video. So today we're continuing our look at this fanzine from the UK called Red Giant. This was the product of Toby Branfoot and others who made submissions, and I think some other people from his local gaming group. These aren't really dated, so we're trying to sort of piece together when they came out. Based on the reviews and the fact they're saying these things were recently released, this one looks like it probably came out late in 1981 or early 1982. Let's take a look at the cover. Have some funky art on here. Again, not really sure who did the art, but we got this goblin-looking creature. Maybe he's supposed to be an alien because there is a planet and a spaceship there to the top right. And again, this fanzine, while it focuses on Dungeons & Dragons, it always has other content as well, and we'll see that continue again today. Editorial, brief update from Toby. Bridge controls, information for Traveller, problems of power, talking about when your players become, in D&D, become more powerful. Ghost and Ghoulies, they've trimmed down the name of their new monsters section. Mysteries and Magic, which are new magic items, reviews, a couple of things. A puzzle, crossword puzzle. The Lost Temple of Iskarn, which is the D&D adventure this time around, and competition results, some discussions about their recent competition, and the Lost Temple is the grand prize winner. Contributions this time, in addition to Toby, Andy Leach, Peter Napier, Derek McAllen, Richard Halberstadt, Jonathan Chadwick, and Noel Froggatt. And I'm wrong. He does say in his editorial that Jonathan Chadwick was the one who did the cover, and that Noel Fraggatt does a bunch of the art that's in the interior. So we'll take a look at that as we go along. His giantorial, or his editorial, welcomes you to the next edition, and again, he continues to think that this one is improving. No real commentary about any type of delay or anything happening here. Contributions, of course, he continues to ask people to send stuff in, as most of these fanzines did, saying, hey, you've got to send in, you got to send in stuff or else you're going to end up with articles from me. And also he's looking for people who play different types of role-playing games to send in articles, because he knows he doesn't play all those different types of games, but he does want to feature them in here. Here's our table of contents real quickly from just his typed up. And again, he just tells you a little bit about who the authors were. So then we have bridge controls. This is a Traveller game. He starts by talking about radio frequencies and communication devices you could use in your Traveller campaign. And then he also has a discussion of different types of scanners that you could use in your Traveller campaign. And then he has a brief comment at the end about Traveller and the expanded character classes, and he says he sort of feels like those are just more powerful characters, and he doesn't like it because you're making, you're imbalancing it, right? Anyone who went under the original rules probably doesn't have as strong a character as she would in the expanded rules. Peter Napier has a discussion, the problems of power, and talks about when your characters get to a higher level, how that can obviously cause some game imbalance problems, and it's a lot more challenging to create monsters or encounters for people that are that strong. If you have that problem, if you consider that to be a problem, he says, maybe a deity comes along and says, hey, you're powerful enough, we want to bring you into the ranks of demigod status and remove you from the campaign. Speaking of removing people from campaigns, a little poison and assassination is always an alternative, he suggests. And don't forget, old age will take out many a good character if it's time for them to go. We have some new monsters this time in the Ghost and Ghoulies column. The first one is the Hand Serpent, and it looks a little bit like that. The Hand Serpent can levitate through the air, only fight if provoked. They will clamp tightly onto the opponent in your mouth, and it'll cause damage. And it has like a little biting mouth inside of the hand, I guess. And then they smack you with the far end of the floating hand like it's a tail. There you go. The next one here is the Kremal, and that drawing looked familiar to me from my comic book era, but it is not Wolverine. And it says the Kremal is a savage ape creature with a black exoskeleton, and they attack with pincher-like claws and a vicious bite. And basically they live in caverns and they'll just come around and hunt you down. And then the third monster we have this time is called the Minx. Not what you would think. The Minx is rarely seen in its vile and defenseless form. So repugnant, in fact, that if you see a Minx in natural form, you roll 3d6 against your constitution and you may become nauseous. They can change their form 2 to 9 times a day into basically any other type of creature, and they gain all of that creature's physical abilities. So, for example, if they polymorph into or change their shape into a dragon, they would get their breath weapon. They don't get any magical resistance, magical attacks, or mental abilities. So, if they change into a mind flayer, they don't get any type of psychic blast attack. They also heal themselves, roll d6 times 10, and they get that much of their hit points back if they're damaged. And also, if they assume the form of a flying creature, then they will, in fact, of course, be able to fly. So that's the monsters for this time around. Mysteries and magic. These are new magic items. It's a grab bag this time. Someone was particularly fond of the hag or witch, it seems to me. We'll notice that in just a second. The bow of handiness looks like a special bow, has some runes on it. If you read the runes, the bow disappears into the ethereal plane. 1% chance it will have been stolen while it's there, but otherwise you can pull it back whenever you want it. I guess it's just to prevent it from being stolen or broken or something like that. Okay, we have the hag's herb bag. And when you reach inside, you'll be able to draw out whatever components you need for a potion. So I think you sort of like just think about what you need and open it up, and then you'll get those components for a potion. It can be used by druids, magic users, or clerics, I suppose. The witch's cauldron can be of different sizes, only be found in the possession of a witch, and any potion concocted in the witch's cauldron has the normal duration. Add 50% to the duration. Then we have the rocking chair. It looks like a rocking chair, but if you start to rock in it, it animates and basically flips you out with great force on the next pass forward, causing 1 to 4 points of damage and knocking you 10 feet away, potentially smashing you into something if there was something in front of you. The box of tissues looks like a box of tissues. Paper handkerchiefs, if you will. But when you crumple it up and throw it to the ground, there'll be a blinding flash of light. Blind someone who's not ready for that for D6 turns unless they make a save versus magic. If you wipe something, your nose perhaps, or some spilled water, the tissue will glow bright red for 1 to 6 turns. Or maybe it's supposed to say whatever you rubbed was supposed to turn bright red. I'm not sure. Cap of Comfort is a small black skull cap you can put on. It's beneficial most of the time. Roll a d6. It will remove a curse. 3 to 4. It will increase your armor class by 2 points or 2 slots and give you +1 on saves versus psionics. Or roll 5 to 6 and it will cure you of 1 to 3 hit points of damage. You put the cap on, you roll to see what it does to you. You can wear it as long as you want, but it won't do anything magical until the next day. So you can only and the magic occurs when you put it on. So you can put it on and off every morning or every time you're injured, see what happens. The Sword of Servitude has the picture of a little man who's bowing on it. And when you're about to go into combat, it begins to animate and speak great encouragement. Oh, master, what a great fighter. Oh, no one will stand before you, that kind of stuff. And then it says it turns into a brush for 1 to 6 rounds and brushes you as if to clean you up. And you can't stop it from doing that. And if you are able, if you have the D6 rounds it takes to complete the cleaning process, then your armor class improves by 2 points for the next combat. But you'll be sort of getting brushed all over, and you won't be able to do anything else. You won't be able to fight. You won't be able to cast a spell or anything until it's done brushing you. So there you go. And finally, we have a new spell, Patriot. It will cause the national anthem of the named being to sound out magically. Anyone from that country or who is loyal to that place has to make a save, and they may stand at attention until the anthem is over. So a little bit silly this time, I think. We have a couple of reviews here. The first from Derek McAllen is the review of the Fiend Folio, which he says came out a few months ago, which I think came out in late 1981. Mostly he likes it quite a bit. His only complaint, I had never really noticed this, is he says there's one lawful good monster, a few sort of neutral monsters, and everything else is some type of evil. But it's the Fiend Folio, right? So they're fiends. Great book. And that's as he says. That's his only criticism, because he's trying to say one thing he could say, it could do better next time. But he loved the book, loved the art. It's pretty cool. We have reviews of Traveller supplements. There are a few of them that they look at, some that are dealing with spaceships. Another one is sort of this library data booklet. And they have some new artwork. I don't know. It looks like this little guy's carrying a book, so I guess he's gone to the library. Here's our new crossword puzzle. This one's a little funky because unlike the normal crossword puzzle, like there's the number 1 across, and then a different box has the number 1 for down. So it took me a little while to get those figured out. But as you can see, this one's pretty easy and kind of fun. So if you guys want to pause this and take a look at it, I think you can probably get this one, for the most part, figured out pretty quickly. Then we have our D&D adventure for the day. This is the Lost Temple of Iskarn. Here's your background. 3 months ago, the Temple of Bragi fell. It was built on an area predominating evil, where the worship of Norse gods was forgotten by all save a few, generally evil, of local intelligentsia. The temple was set upon by the followers of the nearby evil forces. However, the devotion of the followers of the music god foiled all attacks. The followers of Loki, the Norse god of evil, did not participate in these attacks. Then one day, the Bragi followers converted the local villagers. The Loki followers had no alternative but to crush the Bragi before the militia could be organized against them. With the high priest of Loki leading, the forces of evil marched, and the forces of Loki prevailed, and now the high priest has occupied the temple, and the Norse followers have taken over. So again, this was the winning entry in their competition. This was designed by Richard Halberstadt, and here's the map. I think the idea is pretty good, right? You had this neutral, I think he's neutral good, cleric's temple overrun by the people, Loki and his followers, Loki's priest and the followers. So when you come into the main temple, there's signs of battle, there's dead bodies, there's various stuff you can search around in the main temple. And then you'll have to keep searching long enough to find the secret passageway to get deeper in, or else the adventure is going to kind of be over. So there might be some gentle nudging to get the party to figure out how to get the heck sort of further, out of here and further into the dungeon. The typical stuff, there are tons of evil clerics in here. There's some mercenaries that support them. And then there's a couple of random things. There's behind the main altar, there's a place where there was a collapse and some giant rats have taken up residence. So you could go through there instead of finding the secret way deeper in. And then there's a second area that was collapsed where the clerics have cleared debris, and sort of, they say they cast stone, like rubble, I guess like maybe stone to mud, and they sort of crafted it, and they cast mud to stone. And now they've created like this little cavern passageway and somehow populated it with random monsters that each stay in their appointed little cave section, which doesn't make any sense, right? The typical thing from back in the day. They sit there waiting for you to walk in, and then they are ready to attack. But in any event, it's 1980s D&D at its best in some respects. You find your way through there. There's a little section where the lawful good priests sort of Enclave was never overrun or overtaken. And then there's the evil priests who have totally populated the other section of this. You fight your way through. You get to the main temple room, and you discover that there was this enchanted sword that was an artifact, I guess, in this temple. And you have the opportunity, if you can get your way through sort of the traps or whatever, and you can recover this as like your ultimate loot. It's real fun. There's a lot of combat, but it's pretty much just push your way forward kind of an adventure. One long session, maybe two. I'd definitely play my way through this one. It's a lot of fun. Information on the competition, they basically say that's over. Everyone, no surprise, sent in AD&D Adventures. Basically, Richard won. This guy, Jonathan Chadwick, who did the art on the front, was in second place. His was called System of Slacker, and they say that'll maybe show up in a future issue. Here's just a little bit of artwork from the fanzine. I think this is Noel Fraggatt's. I'm not positive, but we've got this warrior and a little dungeon combat scene at the top, a spider crawling across a skull, this evil priest looking dude, and this guy getting struck by a spear, probably some type of a trap, from the dungeon adventure. That's our look at Red Giant number 4. These are really fun fanzines. Like I said, as much as anything we've looked at since probably Dungeon Chronicle, this is like homemade goodness, right? This is just really, really fun. Somebody's sort of, love for D&D and role-playing games and the desire to have their own fanzine. Definitely, these are a lot of fun. There's 3 more of these we'll take a look at in the weeks ahead. Hope you guys have enjoyed today's video, and hope you're liking this series, and I hope you're subscribed. If you have friends who might enjoy our content, please introduce them to our channel. Hopefully they'll be subscribers as well. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. And until next time, my friends, keep rolling 20s.